Welcome to the second masterclass in this series, The Anatomy of a Great Pin. Today we are talking about keyword-rich text overlays and why they are so important. They're simple, but they're overlooked. You know, your text overlay, that's that headline that sits on top of your pin image. And I need you to know this, that line of text can literally make or break your results. So today we're going to talk all about how to make it keyword rich, benefit focused, and impossible to ignore. So your pin is a mini ad. Think about it that way. Don't think about it like a post. When we think about posting, we think about posting on social media, right? I want you to think about these pins like mini billboards. You still only have about 2 seconds to hook your viewer. So think about the caption. Think about it like any great billboard, right? When you're driving down the highway, you only have seconds to see the billboards. So it needs to get your message across instantly. You literally have 2 seconds or less to hook that person. That's it. So that if the headline on your pin doesn't stop their scroll and scream relevance, they're gone. Now, here are 3 rules of high converting text overlays. This is the formula, right? Number 1, solve a problem or spark curiosity. Do not be vague. Do not be clever. Just be very clear. Second, use 1 to 2 keywords that your audience is searching. This will help you show up and get clicked. And third, sound like a human, not a robot, not whatever ChatGPT spits out at you, not a marketing textbook. Use real and specific language that your audience would be using. So let's look at the difference here. This is and this one is actually pretty great, right? So this one, I'm very disappointed that they just put a block of white with some designs and text on it. Now the text, look at that. It is not bold. It is not standout worthy. The only thing that stands out about this text is that it's very hard to read. Right now, look at the other one. This one, very clear, very magnetic, right? The text is easy to read. The keyword here is in a different font, which is just visually appealing. I love how the G in magnet swirls around. It's gorgeous, right? It's subtly branded right down here. It just makes you want to click. It tells you what you're going to get, right? You know that you're going to learn to grow your email list. You know you're going to learn how to create an amazing lead magnet that turns followers into subscribers. Now here on the one, it says that we're going to generate high quality leads for your business. And it says vibrant lead magnet templates. However, when I clicked through on this example, it just took me to a sales page. Now, when I clicked through on this example, it actually took me to some nice tips and tricks. So again, it's all of these pieces go together and make pins amazing or not. And these are important pieces to be paying attention to. Think about what your customer journey is. You know, if they land on your pin, what is the next natural step? And does what your pin says, does it deliver, right? These are important things. Next, we're going to talk about subheadlines, using those sparingly. Personally, I am a little addicted to subheadlines. I love them. And I try to make sure that I keep things balanced with some with subheadlines, some with not. But sometimes that short supporting line can certainly help reinforce your hook. Use it to clarify, use it to add some urgency, or call out who it's for. Just don't overdo it. Pinterest is obviously not the place for a long paragraph on a pin image, right? Pinterest, we just talked about, you have 2 seconds to hook them, right? So it has to be visually appealing and it has to be very clear what they're getting. So use your subheadlines as a place to just reinforce what you're talking about or add a little more mystery to the pin. Your goal is to communicate just enough to get that click, not necessarily to sell the whole thing, right? You don't want to sell the whole farm on your pin, but you want to get the clicks so that they go to the place you want them to go to, which is typically somewhere where they can then purchase something that you are offering. Now, here is where strategy meets discoverability. We're going to bake in a little SEO completely naturally now, right? So, your headline should include your target keyword, but in a way that feels and sounds and is natural. Do not keyword stuff. So, what is keyword stuffing, right? In this example, I searched for homemade dog food. And all of these things popped out, right? Homemade dog food recipes, recipes that are vet approved, crock pot for itchy skin, on and on. If I was a keyword stuffer, I would be selecting all of these and dropping them into my title, my pin, my description, my everything, right? I would just be dropping all of these because I want to rank. I want to rank so desperately for homemade dog food, but that's not the way. And P.S., Pinterest knows when you're doing that and they don't like it. So don't do it. Use your target keyword in a way that is very natural. And usually I just say, what would I type into Pinterest if I wanted to find that? Right? And then build your headline around that and weave it naturally into your description and in other places where SEO is important. So pick the one or two of these that you certainly want to rank for. So perhaps it is a itchy skin homemade dog food recipe that you can make in a crock pot, right? So we can weave those in to our descriptions, our titles, our overlays in a natural and human way. Now, our overlay design, I want you to think functional over fluff, right? Yeah. I don't love the word fluff either, but it was an F. It sounded cool. Okay, don't come at me. Design is important, but not in the way that you think. It doesn't have to be gorgeous, it has to be legible. Now, using bold fonts, high contrast colors, a clear layout, and spacing that makes your pin, well, the text on it, easy to skim. That is what's important. If you want to boost clarity, you can add things like those directional cues, arrows, circles, highlights, things like that. Just do not let those designs or those add-ons distract from your message, because I'm sure that when this slide popped up, you all looked right here at all of these things instead of reading the title, instead of reading any of this stuff. You went right there. Okay, because I overdid it. I overdid it. So don't overdo these things. Use them to just amplify the main points that you want to emphasize. So now you've got this. You've got the scroll stopping headline part completely locked in. You know how to write overlays that actually drive clicks. You understand how to bake in those keywords very naturally, and you know to keep it bold, clear, and specific. Now, in our next video, we are going to deep dive into visual design because every great headline needs a design that supports it. I'm going to cover a lot in the next video, so hang tight, crew, and I will see you very soon.